Quasi here, and in this video I want to share with you the key to fast goal achievement and how to manifest your goals quicker. This was something I learned through watching my clients, through my personal experience in manifestation and just moving along and seeing why sometimes it's so easy to manifest some things, but it's so difficult to manifest others. And I always wondered what really makes this difference and what is that commonality and why most people always seem to move 2 steps forward and 2 steps backward. Okay, and this is what I found. This graph, what I'm going to share with you, is going to completely change the way you view this. Okay, I want you to stick around to the very end of this video because by the end, I'm going to be sharing with you a 2-step exercise for you to implement right now, for you to understand and implement everything that I share with you in this graph and actually achieve your goals much quicker than before. Before I begin this video, I want to quickly announce a couple of spots have opened up for the free one-to-one consult with me and my team for the Reality Mastery program. Make sure you wait around till the end of the video for the announcement on how to enroll and sign up for that consult. So with that, let's get started. So in this video, I want to talk to you about fast goal achievement and why it's so slow for you to achieve your goals. Now, if you really think about achieving a goal, okay, what are the key ingredients? What's the formula that makes a goal achievable, right? So it always begins with the desire to achieve this goal, right? It always begins with a desire. And then with this desire, the intention ensues. And when you have this intention focuses on the movement towards the goal. Desire focuses on just the goal itself. It doesn't care about the achievement on the goal. It just focuses on the goal itself. So within that, we need both this desire and intention to move forward. But what happens is most people, when they have this intention, they also have these counter intentions and counter desires. Okay? This is what fear and doubt are. Okay? When you have these fears and doubts, the identification with the fears and doubts causes them to reflect out in your actions. To give you an example, you might intend to grow your business, right? You have a desire to grow your business and you have an intention to grow your business. But then you start to have these doubts and all these fears, and then it makes you do something that, doesn't support you, doesn't help you. It's in line with the fears and doubts rather than the desire of wanting to grow a business. Example, act all nervous in your videos and you can't quite do the YouTube videos that you need to do to grow your business, or you can't go out there and do outreach and you keep making up excuses for not wanting to do it. So this is how your fears and your doubts start to control your actions, aka your intentions. By the way, intention isn't just action, okay? Intention is just the focus on the movement, whether it be by action, whether it be by something else. Okay, I want you to keep that in mind. Now, why am I drawing this graph here? The 2 pitfalls most people have is, first of all, these doubts and these fears, or number 2 is that these desires that they have, they're very, very intense for a very short period of time, and then they go away. They never think about it again. They never really cultivate and grow it like discipline, okay? So what I'm showing you here is a graph that graphs out your thoughts and your feelings, which are key ingredients in manifesting something, okay? When your thoughts and your feelings are in one line, you move the most effective way towards your goals. Simple. The y-axis shows your thought and your feeling. The x-axis is time, okay? What happens with most people, and the red graph symbolizes what you should not do, is you get an intense burst of wanting to go to a goal, right? You get an intense burst and this impulse to want to go to a goal. But then it's followed by some fear or doubt behind it, which, if you look at the area under this graph, A1, it negates itself out. Because if this is the 0 point, then this is negative and this is positive. When the graph goes towards its negative, when you start to doubt yourself, the doubts are also intense. Just as intense the desire is, so as intense the doubts and fears are. And when that happens, it negates itself out to 0. And this is why, people experience this, like, oh, I really want it, oh, but I can't have it because of this, this, and that. Okay? I'll explain to you why these doubts and fears happen in the first place. But before we get to that, what's the more effective way to do this? When you cultivate this desire and you grow it, and the intention you grow it without the doubts and the fear aspect of it. Okay? The doubts and fears aren't the problem, by the way. I want you to know that right now. The doubts and fears aren't the problem. Everyone has doubts. Everyone has fears, but people just don't know what to do with them. Okay? People don't know how to handle them. It's not the luck that you need, but it's what you do with your luck that counts. Okay? So before we get to that, understand that A2 is greater than A1. Therefore, A2 has sufficient energy to fill up the energy bucket for the goal to be achieved. Simple. So we know that A2 is the right thing to do then if we want to achieve our goals, and A1 is not. So A1, again, just to recap very quickly, A1 is I have intense desire, I really want it, I want to be a millionaire, but I can't have it because I'm poor, and because of my parents, and because of this, and because of that. Or, I can't have it because I don't have a business idea. Oh no, how is it going to happen? All of these doubts take over, right? So let's talk about how and why doubts happen in the first place. Doubts plus fear. Why does this happen? What to do about them? When we talk about the exercise, we'll talk about what to do about them. But doubts happen because of two conditions. First of all, there is intense identification with something that's very, very limited. Okay? I'm going to repeat that one more time. There is intense identification with something that's very, very limited. What do I mean? If you look at the world, the universe, it has its own mind, right? And you have your own mind. Your mind is not coming together with the universe's mind. That's what I mean. So, to give you an example, whenever you think about a goal, the immediate reaction is, how am I going to achieve it? How am I going to get to it? What's going to get me to that? That doesn't work. So you can't take a step back from your limited paradigm, your limited world sphere, okay? And because of that, you can't see the opportunities and the pathways that will lead to it. But even worse than that, you just don't have this faith that you need to begin with, because you can never have this belief to start off. There's a difference between belief and faith. Belief is, I've done it before, so I can do it again. Faith is, this has never happened before. Let's see if we can do it, right? So the number one reason for doubt and fear is limited mind. Identification with limited mind. Universe has its own way and its own plans on how to deliver you your goal, but you're not willing to accept that because you want, I need a good business idea, and then I need this, and then I need this condition. Within your mind, you have this identification to these ideas and these conditions that must be fulfilled before you can be a successful entrepreneur or a successful business owner, right? And because of that, it doesn't happen. Number two, this is more in the progression towards your goals that these doubts and fears happen. To give you an example, in my journey, I would expect certain things. I'll be like, yes, I'm going to run these ads now. So to give you an example, when I wanted to go from 20 to 80K a month in my business, right? I was focusing on advertising on social media like Facebook. And I was like, yes, these Facebook ads, I'm going to, this is what's going to take me up to 80 grand a month. Okay, let's do that. So then I started focusing on these Facebook ads, and then they were not profitable. And I was like, shit, I'm losing money and I'm not getting any clients from it. What do I do? Right? And what I started to see was, because I just made the intention to get to that 80K a month goal, what happened was, all of a sudden, my YouTube channel started to blow up. And that's when the 80K a month came in from. It wasn't the Facebook ads that it came from, but it was actually from YouTube. What happened was, even though I was focused on Facebook, I left my opportunities open. I was still okay with how the universe delivered me this goal. But I knew that I had to act on what I already know. Okay? Because if you don't act on what you already know, you're going to miss out. So there's two extremes to this. One extreme is you just sit on your couch and you just smoke a doobie and you just chill out and the goal will somehow be delivered to you. Or you get too identified with one way of achieving the goal that you just completely say no to everything else, right? So you got to know when to do what. You've got to know when to balance these two so you're in the middle. When you're perfectly balanced, you're in harmony, you're in sattva, okay? This is what it's called in yoga. But when you're in complete harmony, then, things start to flower, okay? So number two is the refusal to allow the universe. So just to recap, number one, you've got to have a broader perspective of how it can happen. And number two, you've got to allow the universe to take its own path. What happens is when you go along this path, you're like, okay, it's going to happen. But then something happens that doesn't go along with it. Some disastrous event happens and then you put a negative meaning onto it. And this negative meaning does this, right? It does this negative effect and then it cancels out everything that you work towards. So please be careful of that. It's not even the negative meaning, but your identification to the meaning itself. It's getting real complex. But what you got to do is, even when the doubts arise, when the fears arise, you just got to be able to take a step back and look at it and still put a positive meaning on the doubts and fears. Okay? Because, or else it becomes a feedback loop. It's like you have a thought, but then you have an attitude towards the thought. Right? Let's say you have a negative thought and you have a negative attitude towards the negative thought. Then you have another negative attitude towards the negative thought. It becomes a feedback loop of hell. So this is the exact thing you want to avoid. This feedback loop of hell. So even if you have doubts, embrace them. Even if you have fears, embrace them. Go out, do the video anyways. Go out, do the Facebook Live anyways. Go out, do the outreach and prospecting anyways. Right? And you never know how it might happen. I will remember like back in May 2019, I was absolutely depressed. I was under so much pressure, but I still made those 7 videos a week, and my energy in those videos wasn't the best, but I still went out there and did what was necessary because I knew that it didn't matter. Like, I just couldn't put a negative meaning onto it and let it stop me. So who's going to prevail here? You or your mind? That's what it comes to. So now let's get to the exercise on how you can use this and get to a point where you no longer experience this clawback effect or this intense spike, but you can systematically cultivate your desire and your intention, nurture it, grow it, and compound your growth. Number 1, the biggest thing most miss out on. Systematically cultivate. So have a system for your manifestation, okay? And always show yourself proof, because that's what the mind needs. Show proof. So initially it begins on faith, but then this faith is strengthened by the proof that you're seeing. I'll give you an example. Initially, my journey began with a dream, a faith, and then a trust on my mentor. Like, oh, a lot of these people have done it. He has all of these testimonials. Maybe I can do it too. And then, the doubts came. Like, oh no, within all of these testimonials that I saw, I didn't see anyone with mindset or like a mindset training or mindset coaching, right? So I was like, oh shit, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it. But then I just had faith anyways. It was like, well, if it can be done for this, this, and this, maybe it can be done for that. Let's see where it goes. I just trust that somehow it's going to happen. Even if it's not coaching that leads me to this financial freedom, maybe something else will lead me to it, right? So having this system is kind of like having like a system of, you use visualization or you use affirmation, whatever it is. Any way to direct the thoughts and the feelings that you have predominantly towards what you want rather than away from what you don't want. Because when you think you're focusing on something that's away from what you don't want, you're really focusing on what you don't want. Because life doesn't care about the nature of your focus. It cares about the content. For example, if you focus on getting out of a 9-to-5, then it's going to move you more and more towards 9-to-5. Instead, shift your focus to what you do want, which is a thriving business that gives you this freedom, right? So if you focus on that, you're going to move more and more towards that. So number 1, have a system, whether it be visualization, affirmations, meditations, whatever you do, whatever that keeps your thoughts, directs your thoughts towards that and arises feelings within you that is directed towards that, okay? And continually show yourself proof. If you want a video of how I did this, I made a complete visualization system on what I do. You can click up here to check that out. Number 2, this is hands down the most important of all. Look at the big picture. Big picture. You've got to get into big picture thinking. What do I mean by that? Well, it's kind of like when you start off, your thinking becomes very, very little-minded. You look at the days, you look at the hours, you're like, oh shit, did I make money today? Oh no, damn. Oh, did I make money this week? Oh no, damn. Oh, did I make money this month? Oh no, damn. Until you can start to look at the years and what you're actually building, you're always going to be attached to the day-to-day, minute-by-minute details. And that's not going to serve you because it's just going to keep on frustrating you. But at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter, again, what you do. The action is the fruit of the motive. Okay, the means don't matter, it's the motive. As long as you keep your motive pure, your heart's pure, and your mind is clear, you will move towards your goals, no problem. It will happen. It's just a matter of time when. You don't know when your YouTube channel is going to go viral. You don't know when the client's going to come and bring a flock of clients that come along with it, right? You just don't know. As long as you have the motive and you keep doing and acting on what you do know, that's pure intention. You're moving towards it. It's really that simple, but people just make it complicated. Another thing is people don't trust their coaches or mentors. They start to doubt themselves. They get to a point where they're like, oh, I don't like what this guy's saying anymore. So now I doubt him. If you trust someone, if you buy into someone's coaching, just trust them fully. They'll lead you to the ultimate. Again, it's not even them that leads you to it. You've got to understand this. It's you. It's always you that gets to it, right? Even if you trusted the wrong person, if your trust was fully there in your motive towards getting to that, anything would lead to that, right? This is getting woo-woo again, but let's keep it more realistic and relevant. Look at the big picture. Look at the big picture of what, the universe has intended. If something today doesn't go your way, this something that didn't go your way is a part of a whole of things going your way. Okay? It had to be this way in order for you to learn the lessons that you needed to learn and get to what you wanted to get to. I was really reflecting the other day about, how I came to the point that I did and what were the things that really helped me come to that. And it was always failure. I had to fail, and this was society's definition of failure. I could have given up a long time ago. I could have given up back in May when I had the $0 month. I could have been like, oh shit, it doesn't work. I didn't make any money this month. Let's just give up and go back to the 9-to-5. Right? I had a cushy 9-to-5 waiting for me. But then I saw that it's because of this failure, I learned the lessons that I needed to learn. And now I know when to persist and be able to look at that larger picture. Right? So that's how you got to look at it. You've always got to look at a bigger picture. When the smaller things aren't working, take a step back. Always have a step back. You're not the thing. You're not even the observer of the thing. You're beyond. You're just playing with this illusion to enjoy this experience. Right? And with that, I conclude this video. Thank you so much for watching. I sincerely hope this was helpful. Let's do a quick recap. Today we talked about how to speed up goal achievement, why most people fail. And how we did that was understanding this graph and the two different graphs within this with A1 and A2. Most people make two cardinal sins. Number one, they impulsively want something. They don't really want it. They just like to want it, right? This signifies this impulse spike up. They're like, ooh, having money sounds nice. Having a successful business sounds nice. Look, everyone has a successful business. Look online. Look at all of these ads. Everyone has a successful business. That sounds real nice. I want it. They don't really want that, right? And because they don't, they quickly come back down. So when they think about it, they're like, oh, I want the business, but oh, wait, I can't do that. I can't spend time on this. I'm too lazy. I have a job, blah, blah, blah. And then they go back down. They don't really want it. They're not really earnest in their desires. They just like to want it. And because of that, it never happens. If you really wanted something, it would 100% happen. If you never doubted yourself for a second, it would 100% happen. And that's what A2 symbolizes. You cultivating this desire and this intention, growing it and continually focusing on what you do want every single day. And we talked about why doubts happen, why these fears happen. It's because of this identification with that which is limited. Right? That which is transient, that which is changing. So your limited mind thinks, oh, I don't really see how it could happen. Therefore, it can't happen. Right? Your mind's like, well, I don't see how if I don't have any clients now, I can go out and use testimonials and get more clients because I don't have clients. So it's like a loop, but you can't just, if you go on that, you'll never be able to achieve anything. And this is why people talk about all sorts of stuff like, oh, you got to be first and then it'll come, blah, blah, blah. But all you got to do is not identify with this limited mind. Somehow it can happen. Just give it a chance. Because whenever you begin, you always have to begin at faith. Belief's never going to be there because you haven't seen physical proof. But if it happens in the sphere of your mind, it's possible for it to happen in physical existence. Okay? Number two is this refusal to allow life to take its own path. You always want to control the nitty-gritty things. I'm like that. I'm very logical. I'm like an engineer. I want to control every little thing. Every little thing must go my way for this grand plan to unfold the way that I wanted it. But sometimes life takes its own path. Most of the time life takes its own path because life follows the path of least resistance. It doesn't want to exert excess energy when it doesn't need to. Okay? So when it takes the path of least resistance, it maybe takes a little bit longer, maybe it takes a little bit shorter. but then you ultimately do get to your goal. And we talked about the 2-step exercise that you can use right now to begin doing this and vanquish all of these doubts. And number one, doubts happen because, again, there's no proof, right? If you had proof, if you could look back at your past, if you could look at client testimonials, sometimes I just look at my client testimonials because I just get discouraged. I'm like, oh no, what if my clients don't get results? Then I look at testimonials, I'm like, oh, they do. They are getting results. If this guy can get it, then that guy can get it too. So just cultivate a system every single day to nurture all of these good feelings, all of these good thoughts, and what you do want instead of what you don't want. And show yourself proof continually. Just blast yourself with proof every single day. If you show yourself confirmation, your mind will most likely be on board. The best thing to do is just ditch the mind and work on faith anyways. But that's easier said than done. Number two, look at the big picture. Okay? Look at the big picture of things instead of getting attached to the tiny little minute-by-minute details. Right? Take a step back. What's happening? Why is this happening? Could it still mean I can achieve my goal? Of course. Of course. Why? What's the rush? Why rush to achieve it by this date? Maybe you don't achieve it. Maybe you learn a lesson. Is that so bad? So sometimes this would happen to me. I'm like, I set this date. Oh no, I have to achieve this goal. Because I get so identified with it. I'm like, oh shit, this is me. This is the quasi that achieves the 300K months by December. If it didn't happen, great. No problem. I learned something at least that'll lead me to the 300K months. Oh, I don't achieve 300K months in this lifetime, great. I'll be reborn and I'll come back and achieve it then. I'll be back 10, 20 different times and then I'll keep coming back until it's achieved. That's how firm your intention needs to be. There is just no way it won't get achieved, right? When you don't give yourself an option for the goal not getting achieved, then that's what's going to happen. There is no choice. It's just the goal gets achieved. That's it. And with that, I conclude this video. Thank you so much for watching. I sincerely hope this was helpful. If you're new to the channel, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and hit that little bell there so you're notified of any new video that I put out. Also, leave me a comment letting me know what you thought of this, if this was helpful, and what other kinds of videos you'd like to see me make. I'm always looking at the comments, even if I don't, like or heart it all the time. But also, as I mentioned before, the free one-to-one consult with me, my team, for the Reality Mastery program is now open. Make sure you click on the link in the description below to sign up for the consult. Let's see if we're able to work together and to help you take it to the next level. Now, who we work with typically are as follows. People who are entrepreneurs who are looking to take their business. They already have an established business. They're doing well. They have all of the tactics and strategies. They know what to do, but they want to take it to the next level. They just keep hitting this invisible wall, and what they're seeing is this wall is not a tactical or strategic wall, even though it may appear to be, right? But this wall is actually internal. You keep running the same patterns over and over again. You keep reliving the same version of yourself, and you can't become who you need to become in order to achieve your goals. You keep having these doubts, these fears, all of these things that don't really serve you. And if that sounds like you, click on the link in the description below to sign up, and let's see if we're able to help. And the free Facebook group is open for you to take advantage of as well. The link for that is also in the description. Thank you so much for watching. Till next time. Peace!